Is this real life?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. They did it. They finally did it. The Red Sox won a series against an AL East opponent, and not just any AL East opponent. The Red Sox beat the big, bad, league-leading New York Yankees in a 3-game series, taking 2 out of 3 games. And this series all around was such a great series to watch, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about everything that went down in this Red Sox Yankees series. We're going to talk about what this means for this team, and more importantly, we're going to talk about what this means to any remaining hopes of a Red Sox October. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button on this video as well. Helps out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. We're going to switch things up today a little bit. We're going to start with the pitching instead of the offense because, in my opinion, the pitching was the star of this series. And we're going to start with specifically the starting pitching, where Nate Eovaldi picked this series off with a completely new way of pitching for Nate Eovaldi. We kind of seen this a little bit in the Houston Astros series, but because his velo has been down, Nate Eovaldi is really relying on his off-speed pitches to generate weak contact as opposed to being that super blow it by him type guy with a nasty splitter. And it kind of worked out, honestly. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 and struck out 3. And while this isn't the Nate Eovaldi we're used to, if it's getting the job done, I'm not going to complain about it. Cutter Crawford got the ball in game 2 and once again was fantastic. He continues to be such a great addition to this Red Sox rotation. He also went 6 innings, he allowed 2 as well, and he struck out 5. I'm going to say this every single recap video from here on out where Cutter Crawford is starting in this series. Cutter Crawford is such a fantastic addition to this rotation. I cannot wait to see what he develops into as we progress further into the year and into next year as well. And to close off this series, Wacha made his return, and boy oh boy did he make his return. This rotation desperately missed Michael Wacha in it. Michael Wacha finished this series off going 7 innings, not allowing a single run, striking out 9 and only allowing 2 hits. I genuinely think that Michael Wacha may have been the best addition the Red Sox made in this offseason, and I would love to see him back for 2023. All in all, the starting pitching was exactly what we've needed for a while. Michael Wacha making a triumphant return, Nate Eovaldi adapting and becoming a different style of pitcher to get wins, and the emergence of Cutter Crawford sounds like a really great 1-2-3 in our rotation right now. If Nick Pivetta and Josh Winkowski can kind of settle down to earth a little bit, Winkowski a little bit less than Pivetta, this rotation to me is looking really good throughout the rest of the year. And speaking of really good, the bullpen in this series was nails. More specifically, Garrett Whitlock was nails because Alex Cora really wanted to win this series. They're supposed to be giving him 2 days in between each appearance. Alex Cora said, no, we want to win this. We're going to put Garrett Whitlock in the first game and the last game, and Garrett Whitlock delivered. He went 3 innings, struck out 5, did not allow a single run, and Garrett Whitlock out of the bullpen is such a thing of beauty. It is crazy watching him out of the bullpen. And I have to shout out Matt Barnes as well, who's been a little bit shaky lately since coming off the IL, but in total, he's been a much better pitcher than what we saw at the beginning of the year. And in this series, he came into a big spot in the first game and struck out 2 and showed some passion that we have not seen from Matt Barnes since the first half of 2021. So it was really great to see that. Hopefully, maybe we get a Barnes redemption tour. That would be fantastic. Everyone else in the bullpen was great as well. John Schreiber had a little bit of a shaky inning, but a lot of that was also because of bunt, and I don't know. I'm not going to consider that a super shaky inning, but all in all, the bullpen was exactly what we needed it to be. We crap on this bullpen a lot on this channel. If we can get a healthy Whitlock, Haug, Schreiber, Strom comes back healthy, and Matt Barnes has a little bit of a redemption tour, this bullpen's actually looking fairly good for the rest of the year, and that is something for the first time this year. I'm going to say I'm optimistic about the state of this Red Sox bullpen, which I had no idea I was going to say at the end of the series, to be honest with you. I was not expecting to say that at the end of the series, but it's fantastic news. All in all, with the pitching in general, this was the dominant pitching that we saw in early months of this Red Sox season. Honestly, between injuries and bad performances lately, I kind of forgot that this pitching performance was in the team's back pocket, and I'm really excited about this. If we're talking about making a push towards the end of the year, this pitching staff needs to be this electric the whole time. Is it difficult? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. So I'm excited about this pitching staff for maybe the first time in a month, and that is really good news. But pitching wasn't the only part of this team this series, so let's talk about the Red Sox offense in this Red Sox Yankees series as well. The offense in this series was okay. I think that the Red Sox offense did their job in this series and got the job done, but I think at the same time too, there was more to be wanted from this offense. But one person we did not need more from was Tommy Pham, who had the walk-off hit in the first game of this series with what would have been a double in the first game, but ended up being a single because it was a walk-off. He also went 3 for 4 in the third game of this series, including 2 runs scored, and he has been an absolute spark plug for this team.
It's Ronnie Peralta there with the tying run for the game-winning run, 90 feet away. What's your approach in that situation? End it. We don't get paid for overtime. End it.
We talked about someone sparking the offense, someone getting this team going, and Tommy Pham could be that guy. If he keeps playing like this, I would not be shocked at all if the Red Sox decide, hey, we're going to bring this guy back for the 2023 season. Granted, he has to approve it, but I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere because he seems to love the Fenway Park energy, and we seem to love him. Rafael Devers came out of his mini slump a little bit in the last game of this series. He went 2 for 4 with a double and an absolute bomb. I mean, this thing was hit so hard that he stopped and stared at it for what had to have been 10 seconds. He backed up almost into the batter's circle. He was so proud of that home run, and he should be because it was tanked. It's also Rafael Devers finally breaking out of that mini slump we've been talking about. Hopefully this continues because this team needs Rafael Devers if they want to compete at any level, and him being an integral part of this lineup has always been the plan going forward. So Rafael Devers coming out of that slump was huge. And speaking of slumps, JD Martinez is kind of breaking out of his. He had 2 RBI singles in that first game to keep the game tied and get us into extra innings. And while JD Martinez's power hasn't come back, much like Nate Eovaldi, he's kind of adapted into a singles hitter. And while I would love to see more out of JD Martinez, some more power behind that swing, if he can still produce the way that he produced in the first game of this series, I don't entirely hate the fact that he is going to be a more of a contact hitter right now, as long as he's producing for this Red Sox team. The one downside to this series is that the offense could have done more. This really should have been a sweep. We had the tying run at third base and in the 9th inning of the second game, and we got 2 really weak at-bats from Devers and Bogaerts. Bogaerts specifically has been really cold lately. I don't know if it has something to do with contract situations or Christian Vasquez or issues with the front office, or if he's just simply in a slump, which is probably the most realistic option out of the 3. But either way, if we're going to start winning games, we need all 3 of our big 3 to be hitting, and right now only 1 out of the 3 of them is hitting for power, so we really need that to come through as well. But all in all, I can't really complain because at the end of the day, they got the job done. They hit when they needed to hit. They did what they needed to do to get wins and get runs across the plate, and that's what really matters. And they won this series because they had timely hits, which the Red Sox have been missing all year. The Red Sox have been known for their not having timely hits, so for them to walk a game off, for them to take a lead and not let it up in the last game of this series was absolutely ginormous. All in all, this was the series we've been waiting for. A statement series to say, hey, look at us. We can compete against the big dogs. We can do this against the AL East. Is it a little bit late? Yes, but at least it came at all. Because to be honest with you, I don't think a lot of us were expecting them to ever make that statement. I think a lot of us were kind of troubled by the fact that they couldn't win a series against the AL East. Well, they did, and they beat the first place New York Yankees. The problem with them doing so well is the fact that the Red Sox went 3 for 4 in their last 4 games and did not gain a single inch of ground in the AL wildcard race. They are still 4.5 games back, which is only a half game better than what they were coming into this Orioles series, the 1-game series, right? And then they win 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, and they're still only 4.5 games back. If the Red Sox want to make a push for October, they're going to have to go on a winning streak. They're going to have to win 4, 5, 6 games in a row to move themselves back into a position where they're 2, 3 games back of a wild card spot. The big problem that I've been talking about this entire time is that you're no longer relying on the Red Sox performance alone. You are relying on the losing performance of the teams in front of you, and that makes getting back into the wild card race really difficult. But sometimes series like this aren't about the numbers. Sometimes series like this aren't about the fact that you didn't move in the wild card standing. Sometimes it's about the mental aspect of this game. The Yankees came into Boston stumbling a little bit, and the Red Sox took advantage of that. The under 500 Red Sox took advantage of a team that was predicted to win the most games in franchise history, and that to me is a mental win, right? That's something that could light a fire, ignite an engine, and get this Red Sox team rolling to a point where they can go on a 5 5, 6, 7 game winning streak. I've been saying for a while, it's not impossible for the Red Sox to go on a run here and make a push at a wild card. Is it impossible? No. Is it unlikely still? Yes, because of the fact of the people in front of them, but I'm still not entirely counting this team out. Either way though, I was really excited about this series outcome. I think you guys should be too. This was some of the best baseball we've seen the Red Sox play as a combined unit in the entire year, and that's something to be excited about. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this series. What do you guys think of what this series means for this Red Sox team? What do you think of this Red Sox team right now in general? Let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, if you've made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day, like I said at the beginning. Plus you made it to the end of this video, might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well, as it helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.